Are you there in the live room?
I am in the live room, Richard. Yeah, really excited about J.G. Harding being a future guest. He sounds so accomplished. He's just got so many good songs. It's incredible.
You'll have to ask 10 City Nation about Lee Sullivan, because they gave him credit for being one of the only sort of pioneers of music in Bury not so long ago.
Yeah, that's right. Let's ask Seymour about that now then. Seymour, quite complimentary about Lee Sullivan, aren't you? He's been in touch tonight.
Yeah, we've got a lot of time for Lee. He's from Bury St Edmunds, our hometown. And a couple of years ago, there always needs to be one person in every town who's putting on gigs and losing lots more money than they can afford to. And Lee was that person a couple of years ago, but he took on the Vickers as a kind of full-time thing. I think that's all he does now, is travel around the world with the Vickers. And fair play to him, in 2 years, have just become massively accomplished and popular.
I was going to say, have you seen much of the Vickers? Because they're from the same town as you, but they're all over Europe basically now, aren't they? That's where they do their gigs.
Yeah, and America. I mean, they're all over the place, and I'm obviously, we kind of look on kind of enviously of what they're doing. But at the same time, I mean, it's a hell of a slog, you know. And you have to. The problem is when you go on tour like that, if you haven't got a huge label behind you, you have to. You come home and you've got no money, you've got nowhere to live. I mean, you know, it's that is the way it is. It's all or nothing. And we've kind of had to. In Miss Black America, we used to tour constantly, and it was, we come back off tour, couldn't afford to buy toiletries or pants or everything you'd lost when you were away. You'd have no food. I was getting evicted all the time. You know, that's the reality of being a touring band if you're not signed to a big label. So I'm not sure if I could do that again.
But yet, at the end of Miss Black America, I think you cited in the web feature, one of the reasons you kind of wanted to get back in a band again is because you started going to more gigs and kind of got that hunger for it.
Yeah, well, I work in London, so in the week I get to go to loads of gigs. And I kept seeing all these bands who weren't getting on the radio or in magazines, but sounding exactly like what I needed to hear. And so I was just, I having declared I'd never be in a band again, Mike and Neil in the meantime had been having similar problems to me, that they carried on playing together, but they'd have problems with sort of flaky bass players or guitarists who, and you know, and at the end of it, we were the kind of three last men standing, with the three people who still wanted to do it. So that was basically why we got back together, because we only three people idiotic enough to want to spend that much time with each other. Because we're awful, Graham.
No, seriously, you're not. You're not. I'm already a big fan of Magnetic West, which is the
oh no, as people.
Yeah. As people. Sorry.
I'm the nice front. You notice the other two aren't speaking.
I thought you were saying you were awful as a band. I was going to say what? We wouldn't, if you were awful, we wouldn't have had you on the show. That last track is a little bit of a surprise for me. It's quite bluesy.
Yeah, I mean we've. I don't know. It's hard to put. I can never quite put. When people ask us what our influences are, it's a weird question, because it's, you know, we don't see eye to eye about anything. It's just the music that we make. We all seem to be quite big fans of, which is healthy. That's an incredibly vague thing to say. I appreciate, but it's there's lots of influence. My first band was a blues band. I played Eric Clapton covers when I was 12 years old.
Nice.
That's the uncoolest thing that I've ever told anyone.
Clapton's all right. He has his moments.
Yeah, but 80s Eric Clapton. You know, I Shot the Sheriff, things like that.
But at the Still Point, your album from last year, is, you know, full on onslaught. You know, really loud, lots of guitars going on. And is there a different side to this album, perhaps?
It's pretty much equal between it. Our first album was quite sort of poppy, and the second album was quite introspective and big and rumbling and loud, and it's kind of a collision of both albums, really. It's halfway between the two. I didn't have much to say on the last album, so Mike took most of the singing, but this album we've evened it out again a lot more. But if you ask any band what they think about the new album, they'll probably say what I'm trying not to say, which is I think it's our best album yet. But ask me in a year and I'll probably hate it.
Well, you'll be showcasing some new tracks tomorrow at the Steamboat in Ipswich, if anyone wants to catch 10 City Nation. Waxing Captors and Kunk also playing as well. And we're delighted to say that you're playing with us at Hatchfest this summer.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that. It was nice for you to have us. They nearly didn't have us. We had to pull out last year because of a last-minute dramatic illness that involved an ambulance en route to the festival.
That sounds nasty. Can we go into more detail?
No.
Right,
no.
It's that bad?
Nothing dodgy, but it's I wouldn't want to. Yeah, it's a bit too.
I think Howard at Hatchfest was a bit disappointed as well, because he went to see you a couple of weeks ago, and he loves you guys.
We felt terrible for having to pull out, but it was like we literally couldn't go any further. We had to turn around, and you know, it was a terrible shame. But you boys were nice enough to have us this year. That's probably the only way we're going to get on the bill. You know, we're in danger of getting you know, it's horrible having to pull out of something once you've agreed to do it, and it's not something we generally do. But it's yeah, we felt terrible about that. So
It's all right. We got you to sign that contract whereby if you do pull out, you owe us lots of money. So it's
yeah, it was
fine,
weird.
but-
You wanted it signed in blood.
Yeah. That's it's routine. It's nothing to do with me, but there you go. That's what the boss tells us to do it. Any more gigs during the summer and in the coming months? It's a new album, so you're obviously keen for as many people to hear it as possible.
As of August, we can do whatever we want because our drummer Neil at the minute he's still a student. So once he's finished his medical training, they're going to let him on a hospital. It's amazing. Then we can do as many gigs as we want. But for the time being, we've got quite a few. We're playing Ipswich tomorrow night at the Steamboat, and then Sunday we're playing Foxfest in London. Next Thursday we're playing 229 in London. Next Saturday we're playing Cambridge Corner House. But there's also, you can go to our website, which is 10citynation.com, and see the full list there, and download all of our albums for free.
That's what you can do. That's incredible.
And tell everyone to download all our albums for free, because we put them there for a reason. We want everyone to hear them.